Hi, Skylar here from the Mint Change You Can Wear. Today I want to show you guys a couple more centering cards that Skip King puts out for punching holes in coins. These ones work with the Harbor Freight punch and die set. The last set that I showed you guys was for the Pepe disc cutter that's in the background over there, and those I absolutely loved. But the issue with that is a lot of people don't want to spend the money for the nicer, Pepe disc cutter. That's cool, I understand that. When you're first starting off, you want to use something cheap. Well, Harbor Freight is the king of cheap, aren't they? So they have this punch and die set there that pretty much a lot of people start out using. The punch and die set's pretty cheap over at Harbor Freight. Make sure you get a coupon for your percentage off. So the first thing we're going to have to take a look at is Skip King sends along a spacer. You can see it in here, this bottom piece right here. That's a spacer. It's going to allow the card to slide in and out of this die without having any restriction. So once you have that put in there, make sure you put a couple punches inside to make sure it's lined back up again. Sometimes it can be a little bit skewed. You don't want that. So once that's done, then we can start getting into how the cards work exactly. So the first thing you're going to want to figure out is what kind of a coin you're going to use. I want to use a penny or a dime for this video. So he's got cards like this that do penny, dime, quarter, or nickel, and then they have bigger ones, and then he has even larger ones than this. So pretty much any coin you want to use, he's going to have a card for it. And if he doesn't have a specific card for it, he can make you one. I know a lot of you guys who are outside of the United States want to do a lot of foreign coins. Well, Skip can take care of you there. But anyway, so the first thing I want to do is pick out, I'm going to use a dime, and I put a spacer in here, and you can see these just pop out. These are little washers. This is a dime-sized washer that fits in the dime hole here, and it's going to fit a 1/4 inch punch, because I want to do a 1/4 inch. And he also has them with 3/8 punches, or whatever you want, really. So the way you get the washer into the card is you just set the washer flat on a flat surface, and then push it on there. So now it's basically pushed in, and now I'm going to take my dime the same exact way, flip the card over, and push the dime in. And now the dime is locked into the card along with the washer. So what happens if you want to do a penny or a dime that's been a little worn down and you push it on? Look at that, that one's stuck. But if the coin you're using doesn't stick into the card like that, what you can do is set the coin down, put a little piece of toilet paper over the top of it, and then push it down over the top of that. So what that does is that'll just take up any of the slack that's in the card. So if the coin's worn down and it won't hold in there, the toilet paper will take up that space. So now we have our coin in our card. We're ready to punch. Now it's time to put it into the Harbor Freight die. And then push our punch down into the washer. And make sure it's seated inside the washer. You don't want to have it sitting halfway out of the washer and then take a chunk out of it. So now that we have it in there, it's nice and tight in there. Skip sends these washers along with the punch, and basically what they do is you slide them down, and it just holds that punch in there nice and steady, nice and even. It takes up any slack on either side of the punch to make sure the punch is centered inside the Harbor Freight die. We know that Harbor Freight doesn't make the absolute best tools. I don't know if that's a news flash for you guys or not, but they don't make the best tools. It's also going to hold that punch nice and steady when we go to press it down. So that is the next step. We'll put it in the press. I like to use a 6-ton A-frame press. I know a lot of people will use, an arbor press of some kind. If you're careful, you can hit it with a hammer if you wanted to. I really recommend using a press though, whichever one that might be. So now we have the whole thing sitting inside of my 6-ton A-frame press underneath the plunger, and now all we have to do is press it out. Alright, now we're through. We'll just press this the rest of the way through. And then I'll use a smaller punch to drive the larger punch out. Alright, now we're clear. Okay, so now we have it back on the bench. We'll pull the card out. And pop out the dime. And it looks like it's a perfectly centered hole. It's going to be every single time if you follow those steps. A really neat card system and a more inexpensive punch to use it with. It's a great set to use for beginners, or even more intermediate or advanced people will still use the Harbor Freight punch and die set. And when you Skip King's cards, you really can't go wrong. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. I will make sure to put Skip King's website in my description box below. Make sure you check out his website. Thanks, guys.